a buck. Now I ask you good folks here, which would you rather have our young children learning as the beginnings of this great nation of ours? The noble cause of religious freedom? Or greed? Is it any wonder that history has been distorted? There are other distortions in history as well. We'll talk about some of those today. Who can tell me when the Plymouth colony was founded?
1620.
1620. Everybody together. When was Jamestown founded?
1608. 7.
And which came first? Duh! Okay. Now, our early English ancestors will arrive to America in April of 1607 on the Atlantic coast, a place called Cape Henry. They open up a sealed chest, and in that sealed chest is a set of orders. One set of orders tells them where to place their colony. It gives them instructions or criteria of what to look for to place their colony. The second set of orders tells them who will govern in the new land. There were 7 individuals on this list, 7 counselors. Why did these 7 people not know they were the leaders before they left England? Who is God on the seas?
Captain.
The captain. If there are 6 other people who think they're in charge, what does the captain call this? Mutiny! And he's going to hang them and throw them overboard. So you don't let the leaders know who they are till they get here. Now, our early English ancestors arrived on 3 ships. No, it was not the Nina, the Pina, and the Santa Maria. It's the Susan Constant, the Godspeed, the Discovery. And the Discovery is the smallest of the 3 ships. Son, please don't climb in the trees. Thank you. The smallest of the 3 ships. It held 21 people. That's about a quarter of this group. I'd like you all to imagine for a moment you're on that ship coming to the New World. It's going to take you, well, let me back up. The size of your ship is the size of a modern-day school bus. How many people here have ridden school buses? I want you to imagine to be on that school bus with the 21 people surrounding you for 4.5 months. Because that's how long it took you to get here. You know, if we started out as best of friends, I'm not too sure we would be at the end. And the same thing is true of our early English ancestors. One man had such a terrible time getting along with everybody else, the others complained, went to the captain, and had this man arrested. They put him in irons and chains. They threw him into the deepest, darkest hole of the ship, the brig, the jail. They're going to try this man for mutiny, for treason. And if they find him guilty, they will hang him. The man's name was John Smith. Ladies and gentlemen, John Smith arrives to America under arrest, in irons, and under the threat of hangman's noose. It would not be the last time he put himself in that situation. However, Providence will set him free. We'll talk about Providence in a little bit. The English will arrive with 104 men and boys to establish a permanent colony. What is wrong with that statement? No women. Can you have a permanent colony without women? No. And it took the English a whole year to figure that out. Because the first 2 women don't arrive until September of 1608. Now, that's kind of an exaggeration. They didn't bring women for a purpose, folks. They also didn't bring farmers. How can you have a permanent colony if you're not going to bring farmers? There is a reason they don't bring farmers. There is a reason they don't bring women. Does anybody have any ideas? A distraction, one lady said. Or that may have been the man, I don't know. Danger?
Maybe because they didn't want their family to be hurt of Indian attack.
Didn't want their families to be hurt? Ladies and gentlemen, if you bring women, if you bring farmers, what are you telling the Native American about your stay? Is it temporary or permanent?
Permanent.
Do you want the Indians to know you plan to stay? No. You purposely do not bring women and farmers. You do, however, bring 4 boys. Why do you bring 4 boys? What? So they can grow up, okay?
So they can cook.
So they can cook. Well, some of you ladies in the audience will appreciate this. They are going to give those boys to the Indians. Does that sound wicked? Does that sound evil? It does if you're one of the boys. Okay? But there is purpose behind it, folks. The English are going to give the Indians one of their boys. The Indians are going to give the English one of their boys. These two boys now learn the language and culture of the other society. And later on, you then exchange the two boys back. What does each side now have? An interpreter. Not only of the language, but of the culture. And it is far more important to understand the culture than it is the language. More wars have been started from a lack of understanding of culture than there have been from a lack of understanding of language. Now, why do they trade a boy and not a man? It's a scientific fact that children learn better and faster than adults, especially when it comes to language. Let's assume we trade a boy and a man. And these two individuals both make the same social mistake. They insult somebody of importance. Who is the other side more willing to forgive that insult? The boy. Children are expected to make mistakes, but adults are expected to know the rules, even if you come from a different society. By sending a boy, ladies and gentlemen, the English ensure their survivability, and that they will return to the English with the knowledge they were sent seeking in the first place. Now, the English will arrive, unfortunately, folks, well, let me back up. They arrive with 104 men and boys. Only 35 survive to the spring. 2/3 die. For the first 10 years of English settlement in America, 50% of every shipload will die within their first year. If you can survive 2 summers, you'll make it. It's called the seasoning. Now, the English became very prepared, but if they came so prepared, why did so many people die? Well, recent research has indicated that when the English arrive in 1607, they arrive in the second year of the worst drought in almost 780 years in this area. The English arrived in the worst drought in almost 800 years. Now, they selected this site